Now it's time for Media Watch, and I'm joined here in the studio by Emma James. Hello, Emma.
Hi there.
You've been looking at the reaction online to yesterday's shooting at that newspaper office in the United States. What are you seeing?
Yes, the Capital Gazette is really the name on everybody's lips. It's one of the oldest newspapers in the United States, and of course now it is getting all this attention for all of the wrong reasons. But they are taking a very defiant stance, and they put out their paper today. They told us that they would last night on their Twitter feed. They said, yes, we're putting out a damn paper tomorrow. That is despite the fact that this is a newspaper staffed by very few people. In fact, almost a quarter of their journalists were killed in that attack. This is how the newspaper looks, 5 shot dead at the Capitol. Lots of people talking about just how much effort and bravery and concentration it must have taken to actually stick to doing your job in those circumstances. This British journalist saying, this is what courageous journalism looks like. Imagine what it must have taken to put this edition out. This is how they did it. Some of the journalists having been removed from the building. The building was evacuated after that shooting. This is a photograph of some of them working in the car park. And that is how, using their phones, using their laptops, that is how they managed to get a newspaper out. Unsurprising that they stood up to this act of, well, you might want to call it domestic terrorism. It certainly was mass murder. Unsurprising that they actually still got a newspaper out, because their court and crime reporter, Phil Davis, was tweeting in the immediate aftermath. This was one of the most shocking tweets of last night, which really, I think, brings the horror of the situation home to you. There is nothing more terrifying than hearing multiple people get shot while you are under your desk and then hear the gunman reload. A lot of people commenting too on the opinion page, which has a very starkly different look to how it would normally be. It is mostly blank. This page is intentionally blank, they say, to commemorate victims of Thursday's shootings at our office. The editor of that page is among the dead, Gerald Fishman, so understandable really that they chose to do that. They've tweeted, though, that tomorrow this Capital page will return to its steady purpose of offering readers informed opinion about the world around them. But today, they say, we are speechless, as are so many people. Now, they've chosen to do many portraits of those who lost their lives. And I think one of the most touching stories is about Rob Hearson, one of the stalwarts of this newsroom. It was actually his wife Maria's birthday yesterday. Last week they celebrated their 33rd wedding anniversary. She chose not to open her birthday present that morning, said she would wait for him to get back from work. And that is a story that I think really has hit hard with a lot of people.
Very sad indeed. Heartbreaking. Now, of course, this shooting has highlighted some deep divisions in the United States, over guns, but also about the media.
Yes, absolutely. People last night took to social media very quickly, jumping to conclusions and speculation really that fitted their political outlook, if you like. Speculation very much rife. But we now know that this gunman was acting, it would appear, because of a long-standing grudge. He had a failed defamation case against the Capital Gazette and had been issuing threats to them for many years. This is reported to be one of his tweets. I'll enjoy seeing Capital Gazette news cease for publication, but it would be nicer to see Hartley, a reporter, and Marker, the then editor, cease breathing. Now, that was back in 2015, and a lot of people saying that can have nothing to do with the current rhetoric. Donald Trump, of course, calling the media the enemy of the people. But I think it is interesting that those tweets were happening years ago, and yet it is now that he has chosen to act. And a lot of people talking about things like this. Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a right-wing provocateur, to give him probably the most polite description I can possibly come up with. Just 2 days ago, he called for vigilante squads to go out killing journalists. Now, he has since said that he is not serious. The NRA, too, have talked about they'll perish in the political flames of their own fires. Now, interestingly, probably the most sensible words of all have come from the mayor of Annapolis, Gavin Buckley, who said, what is wrong with our society that we're this tightly wound that you can be this upset at a newspaper that reports stories on cats being stuck up a tree?
Okay, very sad indeed. Thank you very much, Emma James, with today's edition of Media Watch.